Emergency Operations Centre at Diana Points has been placed on standby.
Yep.
Ready to go? Yep. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the June meeting of Murrumbidgee Council. In the spirit of open, accessible and transparent government, and to ensure this meeting is open to the public, this council meeting is being recorded and live streamed to the Murrumbidgee Council Facebook page. A recording will also be placed on the council's website following this meeting. We are all present and accounted for, so any staff apologies, John? No? Okay. We'll move on to the confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary council meeting 25th of May 2021 and the extraordinary council meeting 31 May 2021. Someone would like to move? Move Councillor Bright, seconded Councillor Brown. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. I remind you of any pecuniary interest declarations. And I will move to the Mayor's report. I apologise for the lateness of this report, but it has been an incredibly busy month. And as you can see, lots of it has been spent at conferences and so I guess the important things to take from this Mayoral report is that once again our communities find ourselves very much immersed in the COVID-19 resurgence. While we are lucky enough at this stage to have not been in direct contact, we must be really mindful and vigilant, as we have done before, to try and keep our communities as safe as we can. Our staff have facilitated 3 community consultation drop-in sessions to allow the general public access to the proposed implications regarding the rates harmonisation. These had minimal attendance, but I do thank the staff, in particular Vicky, Robert and Kerry, who have invested many, many hours in bringing this mandated process to the table. And I think they've done an amazing job under duress. So I hope that those that were concerned or will be concerned into the future will be able to have their fears or perceived fears dealt with. The General Manager and I had attended a regional, and Councillor Black attended a regional water forum in Griffith called River Reflections, which is the first of one of the MDBA regional officers' workshops. It is more of the water story, but that's as it is, and there's nothing new. It moves slowly. There are so many stakeholders in the water story that actually tends to choke it. But we must be at the table so that our communities are adequately represented. The General Manager and I attended the 4-day National General Assembly in Canberra. The most productive and informative day of that was the regional forum, which was held on the Sunday prior to the national local government meeting. Themes that promoted there were the importance of localism and place-based decision-making, the very clear messages that whatever the initiatives intended for this guy out there thinking, we have to bring a more flexible and adaptive approach needs to lead and drive the decision-making process. Topics included food security, regenerative agriculture, digital connectivity, accessible and appropriate health, workforce and its change of focus, affordable and social housing and the mental health crisis we find ourselves in. Day 2 of the National General Assembly was a national overview of the COVID-19 pandemic by epidemiologists, infectious disease specialists and a social economist. This was a very confronting and hair-raising session. And who would have thought, like a week later, we would find ourselves where we are. There was a thought-provoking address on the importance of local government and its place in the multi-tiered government structure, and many addresses on planning, local employment, economic stimulus, social capital, the Indigenous voice, / closing the gap, recovery and resilience and security. It's a fairly intense 3.5 days, but it actually does give you a very lateral view of what's going on in our country. Graham Jones hosted 2 workshops during the month, one on health and one with the Water Subcommittee. On the 16th of June, we held the first of our staff recognition ceremonies. This saw 10 of our employees recognised for 10 years valuable service. to the previous Jerilderie and Murrumbidgee Shire Councils and the now Murrumbidgee Council. It was a privilege to recognise these staff who give willingly to our communities and play a large part in making them the best place they can be. And my congratulations to the 10 who were recognised. And below are just a list of the meetings we've attended since the May Council meeting, and it's been an incredibly busy month. Are there any questions? If not, would somebody like to move the report, please? Move Councillor Blake, seconded Councillor Smith. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried. I might ask you to raise your hands, please, those of you on blue jeans, so we can move forward. Okay, we will move to item number 1, please, the General Manager's report.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Just quickly running through the report, the COVID-19, we updated the plan, but not, we updated it last week just to change the maximum numbers to events, and it possibly looks like we need to go back and change that back to what it was just the week previously for the number of people that are allowed. But we're sticking to the current protocols that the state has imposed, and just some of the things with the COVID that and restrictions that are causing a little bit of consternation in the community is that, as we are aware, the border bubble that exists with the Murray River and Victoria and ourselves in particular is that there are two different maps. New South Wales got a map and Victoria's got a map, and they're both different. Victoria's map includes the whole Murrumbidgee LGA. New South Wales map only goes as far as virtually Jerilderie in the part of the left-hand side of, or the west side of the Kidman Way up to, I don't know if it's Four Corners Road or whatever, and beyond. And it's confusing for some of the general public. So currently, the border bubble map that we are working on is imposed by Victoria, not by New South Wales. Right. So that is the border bubble, which includes, for Victoria, includes our entire LGA, but also includes the city of Wagga and a few other things like that, whereas they're excluded in the Victorian bubble. That's just something that needs to get out there so that people know that our bubble is the Victorian map at this stage, and that's because that was imposed by Victoria. In relation, had a meeting, a web last night, which was delivered by the Deputy Commissioner of Police as well as the Chief Health Officer by Office of Local Government. Just a lot of it was focused on Greater Sydney, but the message to regional areas is that the variant of the virus is a highly contagious one. It's something many times more than what the original variant was that we encountered 18 months ago or 16 months ago. So the precautions they've put on, our facial wear and everything that we're doing, is for multiple reasons, is because you don't know how it is being transmitted, who has got it. They might not be affected, they might not feel any symptoms or anything else like that, but they can bring it along, and it's just a bit of a game changer. They've identified the virus in some rural sewage communities and things like that, so they don't know how it is getting there. Even after they've tested those communities, there's nobody positive in some of those communities, but we know it's out there. So hence the restrictions that we've got to be as ever more vigilant as we can during these times, and to think that yes, whilst we can all be safe and we're only a small area and we know each other, it's the unknowns that we don't know that we have to be careful for and precautious of. Just following on to the next point is the master plan. So from councillors' workshops that we did during the mid-month, it was presented close to about 80 to 90 areas where put forward in a brainstorm to see where council would like us to start focusing on, to start to develop what I've called here master plans, but really they're plans to get shovel ready for various things. So whilst we've got some there that are sitting under currently developed, and they're the ones that have started already, we had an additional 25 or so. I said that I'd round it out to 20 to 30, but at the end of the day, from everything and all the consultation that come through from all the councillors, it ended up to be about 32. How it was ranked in priority was those that suggested the most got up to the top, and the last, and those that were only one or two fell down to the bottom. So these will be what, if council resolves to make them as our plans that we're going to focus on in priority, then we'll start to do that in priority as it's listed there. If there is an opportunity to accelerate any of them, because there might be an opportunity for impending grants or anything else like that, then we've still got this list that we can work through. Only upcoming meetings that are there at the moment was the Newell Highway Task Force, but after this report was penned, Ramjo has got their board meeting in Albury on the 28th of July with a dinner at the 27th the night before. That's our council meeting day. So Councillor McRae and I will leave the council meeting and head over to that dinner, and then the board meeting the next day. I think that was the only other thing that I've got. So my recommendation is that the contents of the General Manager report be noted and the priority of the development of the Master's plans be as detailed, 1 Luke Park West and 2 right through to number 32.
Brown?
Okay, move Councillor Brown.
Yes, and just a amendment, John. 16 and 22 are the same thing.
16
and 22 is a repeat.
They are. So I've only got 31.
That's
magic
correct.
stuff. Thank you very much.
Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Bryce. Any further comment? Councillor Wells.
Yes, with regard to the item number 4, the cemetery, Gumview parking and toilet block. The diagram that has come back from the consultants, I don't believe is what we're looking for in the town.
Yeah, and yes, and that's why it's come back, and it would have been at our workshop this morning, except for it was delayed, so it'll come to the workshop on the 13th of July for everybody to put their input into, Councillor Wells. So the documents you can put your input through at any time.
Well, why would you go out to consultants now without getting a bit of ground information on what we were acquiring there?
And to be perfectly honest, we wanted to get a lay of the land of what was there, and we wanted to get some ideas to present to the council. And some of those ideas have come from past conversations that have been held. We're not holding out that they're 100% correct, hence they're coming to council now for us to refine and adapt.
Any further comment or questions, please? Just further to the General Manager's report, we just have to advise you that the Executive Officer, Ramjo, has resigned and is moving on to a new position. So there will be changes afoot there.
Her name?
Bridget Leopold.
Who stole her?
Can't say.
We can't say, but she was stolen. So just to fill you in on that. So move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Bryce. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Raise your hand, please. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, item 2, please.
So in the absence of Vicky, we've got here the delivery program and the operational plan and the rates, fees and charges, etc., etc. As part of the, we went to consultation. Consultation closed yesterday in relation to the delivery plan and the rates harmonisation. We received 3 responses in relation to the rates harmonisation. We've forwarded them to the councillors for them to see the comments that come back from the 3 ratepayers. And then we also had 1 response in relation to the delivery program and operational plan, the budget in effects. And I've forwarded those through to the councillors as well. On a whole, the information that's come back from 2 of those people were that they were happy with what was presented in the rates harmonisation in moving forward, and the third one was not as much, was objecting to the process of the rates harmonisation. So there are those things. So all of the basis that you've got sitting in front of you as you're to adopt is what was presented at workshops and at the last council meeting when you moved to send this to consultation. So in relation to the rates harmonisation, most nearly all categories except for medium farmland, I believe, will harmonise immediately, and the others will harmonise over the period of a couple of years, keeping in mind that at year 3 of those harmonisations that we're due for another revaluation, which will skew the figures that we've got in our work going forward, but that will just be based on how the redistribution will be within that area of effect. So, any questions that I can answer? If not, I can grab Bob in relation to the rates harmonisation. The delivery program is as has been workshopped with council and budget setting. Questions?
If there's questions, Councillor Wells.
Yeah, with regard to the operational plan and the delivery program for the forthcoming 21-22, I'm not very happy that we're looking at a deficit in that area. Is there a possible we can rejig that finance to come out with a balanced budget?
So yeah, and the deficit is premised on a couple of things. So if you look further into the papers, though, actually I believe our unrestricted cash actually increases over that period of time. So the deficit is just basically around our council not funding 100% our depreciation. So instead of funding $6 million worth of depreciation, we're only funding the $4 million worth of depreciation. So not something dissimilar to what we've done in the past. There's also there was a few assumptions that were run through there, which is that the deficit is working on some assumptions that we had before in relation to our wages and where we attribute our money and our wages and things like that. And I can actually see this year that the deficit will probably be lower than what's projected in the budget because of we've got programs such as the Channel 9 to complete, the Ben Cubbon, Young Street subdivision, which a majority of them is funded from either external grants or a loan borrowing. So we're not actually using the ratepayers' funds, and they're all capital items rather than the operational fund. So there's a few things that I can see that I'm not uncomfortable with the surplus that we've got, based on the fact that we are increasing our unrestricted cash, so we're getting a positive cash flow into the system, and plus we've only factored in some past numbers in calculating the deficit or where we're spending our money in the operational. So I'm not uncomfortable. I would love to be able to do that, but to try and pull back that $2 million or the $1.7 million or whatever it is could be problematic, but it's something that we definitely should be working on and keeping our eye on. If the converse happens and our unrestricted cash and our unrestricted cash was decreasing, then that would be more of a cause for alarm for us to start to look at some things.
Any further questions of John, please? If not,
Just one question. The community, how many people commented or surveys and they agreed with the Great Harmonisation? How many again?
Yeah, and I informed council that we've received 3 formal replies from that. 2 agreed with the way we were going forward, and the other one didn't disagree, just disliked.
and John, can you please give us the number of people who actually attended the 3 drop-in sessions?
They were probably a total of 12 across the 3 communities over the 3 days, if that.
Okay.
Right. So there wasn't a great...
Take up of that opportunity.
No.
Are there any further questions, please? Councillor Smith?
Just as comment, the communication that went out to describe what community consultation was in regard and the opportunity that community members had in having their individual circumstances reviewed during that consultation wasn't necessarily made particularly clear.
Thank you for that comment. There's no further comment or questions around this. Would somebody like to move the recommendation, please? Move Councillor Turpin, seconded Councillor Black. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 3, please.
So item 3, Sue, do you wish to speak in relation to item 3? And the recommendation will be placed up on the screen directly for Councillor B once we get through to the paper past this section. So Sue?
Yes. Item 3 is just detailing the 15 applications that were received for the Collie Emily Solar Farm Community Fund grants.
Okay, thank you, Sue. And the recommendation will read, the Collie Emily Solar Farm Community Fund recipients under the 2021 Collie Emily Solar Farm Community Fund will be, will be the Collie Emily Preschool Association Incorporated, $2,000 for a nature-based play space. 2, the Country Education Foundation of Collie Emily Darlington Point, $2,000 for education grants. Number 3, the Darlington Point Public School P&C Association, $2,000 for their intensive swimming program. Number 4, St Joseph's Primary School Jerilderie Parents and Friends Association, $2,000 for an Echuca day trip to the Twisted Science and Paddle Steamer experience. And number 5, the Takandi Inabara Cultural and Development Centre, $2,000 for sporting equipment and promotional and an additional promotional brochure. So, would somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Bryce, seconded Councillor Smith. Those in favour, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 4.
Can I just make a comment about the wording of the fund? Because we call it education fund in here, but out in the, obviously in the stratosphere, people don't refer to it as an education fund. Should that not be in the wording?
Well, I think yes, we will endeavour to do that at next.
Just make it easier in the end result.
Yep. Thank you, Councillor Bryce. Item number 4, please, community grants. Sue, would you like to speak to this, please?
This is just the applications for community grants from the Murrumbidgee Council Community Grants Program, and there were 17 applications totalling $30,825.
Okay. Thank you for that, Sue. The recommendation will read, that the funding recipients under the 2021 Community Grants Program are as follows. 1, the Collyambley bowling teams, $2,000 for shade covers. 2, the Collyambley Darlington Point Apex Club, $2,000. The annual dinner event with a focus on mental health. 3, the Collyambley Golf Club, $2,000 towards the purchase of chairs. Number 4, the Collyambley Quilters, $1,299 for a stick vacuum cleaner. Number 5 is the Collyambley Volunteer Rescue Association, $2,000 towards the upgrade of the rescue truck lights. Number 6 is the Cypress View Lodge, $2,000 towards the water pressure system to supply internal fire sprinklers. And 7 is the Darlington Point Men's Shed Incorporated, $2,000 purchase of a thickener, spiral thingamy. And number 8 is the Darlington Point Primary School, $1,700 towards their breakfast club. Number 9 is the Geraldine Fishing Club, $2,000 towards Fish Day. And number 10 is Geraldine Sports Club, $2,000 for 5 sets of new bowls. So that's what the recommendation reads. Would somebody like to move it, please? Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Bryce. Is there any further comment? If not, I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Councillor Murphy, did you have something to say?
Yeah, can I double check to make sure that the Darlington Point Public School intensive swimming program, did I miss that, or was that in the program? Is that in the grants?
That has come out of the first round of grant funding, Rob, out of the solar farm funding.
Oh, okay, yeah, no worries, that's good. Thank you very much.
Okay, no worries. No further questions. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you. Item number 5 is the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Heritage Darlington Point. Is there anybody who attended that meeting that could speak to these? No. I hope everybody's read them. Is there any commentary around these minutes? If not, I'll put the minutes being moved. Somebody move the minutes, please. Move Councillor Black, seconded Councillor Smith. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item number 6, minutes of the Geraldine Tidy Towns Committee. Councillor Bryce, would you like to speak to those, please?
Unless there's anything else that came out of, if anybody can see, we actually had our raffle, which we've made almost $500, which is really good. And I did want to ask whether council had been approached about the park run program at all.
What, sorry?
Park run?
Have we?
Yeah.
We have.
We have.
Yeah.
But no, it hasn't obviously gone anywhere.
No. It did come across my table to Councillor Bryce, and to be perfectly frank, it has gone to the bottom of the list because we've been incredibly busy. So, were there thoughts around Tidy Towns initiating this?
Tidy Towns has asked Kate Hardiman to come and speak at the meeting next month to just see what's going on, whether she's had any interest from anywhere else.
Can you explain who Kate Hardiman is?
Kate Hardiman, new to town. They've bought property in the main street, and she goes to Cobram to participate in the park run, and is just wanting to start one in Geraldine at the lake.
Okay. So
it's quite expensive to start up.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Is
So
she looking to pay for that herself?
no, she's looking for donations. I imagine she's written to all organisations to garner some interest.
Okay.
One of the requirements is to have the heart starter,
Defibrillator.
that's the word, defibrillator, in the vicinity. So that may be an area that council could help with finding a grant, perhaps when they come out, if it gets on the ground.
Okay.
Running. The other point was that our annual general meeting is going to be in November instead of September. Yeah. Other than that,
And I have had an in-depth conversation with the minute taker regarding the recording of the minutes. So hopefully there may be a bit of a change of focus around that. Somebody, is anything else, Faith?
no, that's all.
Okay, would somebody, yes, Councillor Smith.
The concept of the welcome day, Faith, was there much discussion around that? Or?
It was just came up in conversation that Berrigan was having one.
We might consider doing something similar.
Can you speak up, please?
Oh, sorry, just that we might consider doing something similar at some stage.
When it's warmer.
Much warmer.
Face masks. Okay, Councillor Bryce, would you like to move?
I will move my report.
Okay, move Councillor Bryce, seconded Councillor Smith. Any further questions? If not, I'll put that. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. The minutes of the Murrumbidgee Local Emergency Management Committee meeting.
Yes, that commenced on the 8th of June. We all met down at the Colliambly Hall, community hall there. Do you have any questions regarding?
One thing, the next meeting is going to be held in Darton Point. It doesn't state that. I wasn't there, which is good. I'm very pleased I wasn't there.
You actually moved a motion, but you...
Yes, you did.
And I'd like to bring to council attention the roadside emergency numbers. They're in a dreadful state around the community. They're 10 or 12, 15 years old, somewhere in that. And we need to address the situation. The AMBOs and the police rely on these numbers, and they are requesting us that we find some money to do something with them, to repair them.
Well, I can make comment about that. We had a very in-depth conversation about that. And I think I almost said what you said, word for word, which is a bit frightening. And however, it was pointed out to us this is an expensive exercise, and that there are currently not the funds to.
Can we seek a grant to get the?
Councillor Black, through you, Madam Mayor. I did answer the question at the LMC that we lobby either the RFS or the state government for this, because 15 years ago they gave us the money to do so. Now, hence those signs are all faded, and hence why they require replacement. As you know, we've asked our community through flyers to represent us to ask which signs and where they want replacement. So that seems to be feeding in very well in the last couple of months.
Can I ask a question? Why does a property owner bear or give the responsibility of a number on their place, whereas if you're a homeowner in a town, you put your own numbers on? Why does a property owner not put his own numbers up?
See, I don't actually, through you, Madam Mayor, don't understand that, because in Victoria, we historically had to pay for our own. There was a set fee, and
I don't know the answer to that. My only commentary around the whole issue is that if council does it and we do it as a program, like a lifetime program, which is 15 to 20 years, we ensure the level of how it is installed. So it's not stuck on a pole or flying the wrong way, or doesn't have good visibility, or doesn't have that sort of thing. When it's left up to, council to purchase it, but then installation becomes the responsibility of the landowner or whatever, you're not going to get that level of consistency across the council footprint, which I think is actually a concern. Councillor Black? And
it is also, the signs are consistently all the same if council do it.
Well, they are the same because they are all through.
They are at the moment, but a farmer can go out and put stickers on his.
Excuse me.
Councillor Wells.
In the back of my mind, I believe that there was a council resolution when these signs first went up, the council installed them, and then I believe that there was a council resolution that they then became the responsibility of the landholder.
I think you are correct, Councillor Wells, that was the intention. However, the emergency services, whether they be RFS or ambulance or police or whomever, are having great difficulty in finding where they need to be, because the responsibility of the landowners is not in keeping with keeping a lot of the numbering visible. So there's a huge issue when it comes to emergency services. And the compounding issue around Cleambley is that they have roadside numbering and they have farm numbering. And quite often you get two competing numbers and they don't know where the hell they are. It's very confusing. So I think it's a conversation that's going to require further dialogue, and as Councillor Black identified, we need to keep our eyes and ears open for a very opportunity funding opportunity out there, so that we may be able to do a council whole
The monthly investments report, if there's any questions that I can answer, I will. I will give an answer key returns.
Are there any questions Councillor would like to take? If not, recommendation by the council note the monthly cash and investment report containing the bank balances and schedule of investment as at 31 May 2021. Somebody moved, please. Those in favour, please say aye. Raise your hand. Oh, yes, carried. Item 9, please.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. It's just a standard report of the application for dwellings and sheds that have been received over the last months. They've got minor environmental impact and it's good information of the council.
Are there any questions regarding these DAs approved under delegation?
The cost for these projects within the council area, they're not within this report.
Kelly?
Normally they have the cost.
Oh, sorry about that. We can include the costs in the future. We actually amended the way that we reported it because there actually has been a change in the legislation, but that's no reason why we can't include the cost, Councillor Wells.
Yeah, the cost is just a good indication for councillors to know what type of business is being developed within the Shire footprint. Thank you.
Are there any further questions of Kelly, please? Would somebody like to move the recommendation with tax information contained in the development application approved under delegation made to be known? Cross-seconded. Smith, those in favour, say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Move confidentially. Second for those in favour. Against, carried.
Send anyone for that? Do we send anyone for that?
the emergency services.
Yeah.
And those it's on my bus.
All right. We'll move. Item 10. Item 10, resolve applicants for 2021 result of the council regional Thank you, Marie.
Oh, yes.